Guys, it's me, Jasmine, and I'm here again to give you another episode of Travel Tips with Jasmine. And for this episode, I will be giving you 5 tips on how you can search for the right travel partner for you. So let's get started. This is actually one of the most important parts of traveling. If you don't have the correct travel partner, then it could either make or break your trip. So let's get ahead and start with tip number 1. And for tip number 1 is to be clear on your own travel style. Basically, how do you want to be traveling? Do you want to just be relaxing on the beach, taking in some sun? Now for tip number 2 is to be clear on your budget. Make sure that your travel partner knows how much money is going to be spent, how much the flights cost, how much the hotels. But also remember that while you're traveling with travel partners, it's a good thing that you will be sharing costs. So of course the cost will be a lot lower. But yeah, always be clear on the finances, because of course not everyone's going to have the same finances as you are. Some people might have a lot less to spend on travels than you do, so make sure to be clear on that. And for tip number 3 is accommodation. What kind of accommodation are you planning on having during your trip? Are you planning on backpacking, hostels, couch surfing? Be clear on what kind of accommodation you personally want to experience. Some people might prefer going camping instead of spending money on expensive hotels. And now for tip number 4 is planned activities. What kind of activities do you want to be having during your trip? Do you want to go hiking? Do you want to go swimming, seeing museums? Is it going to be a cultural trip, or is it going to be more of a relaxation trip? Kind of going back to the travel style, just be clear on all the activities you have in mind, because of course now your travel partner might not want to do the same thing, and it's okay if you don't want to do the same thing. Just be clear on what your plans for the trip is. And now last but not least is tip number 5, is to be clear on your expectations. This is also one of the most important ones, because if you're not clear about your expectations to your travel partner, things can go downhill quite fast. Be clear on why you want to travel, why you want to see the world, and everyone of course has different reasons why they want to travel, so just make sure you're clear on that, what you want to gain out of your travels, and just have a great time. Another tip to keep in mind is that you shouldn't make compromises you personally don't want to, because obviously traveling is one of the most beautiful experiences that you will ever want to experience, and it's one of those once in a lifetime things. You take holidays off your work and all these things, so don't make compromises that much, and just make sure you find the right travel partner who wants to do the same thing as you do, which is the most important part. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Travel Tips with Jasmine, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if I inspired you to possibly create your own trip or go on a trip with other travelers, then make sure to check out JoinMyTrip.com. I will also link it down below. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode of Travel Tips. Bye!